Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another meal prep / batch cooking video. This video has a lot of great recipes that can be paired with your holiday dishes, as well as a traditional pumpkin pie. I wanted to be sure that I added a traditional pumpkin pie because I know many of you guys like to have that on Thanksgiving. So here it is. This sugar-free pumpkin pie is the best one I have ever tasted. All the recipe links will be in the description box below, so I know these videos go kind of fast. No stress. Go down there, look in the description box, and that's where you can find the link to these recipes. I hope this video gives you inspiration and ideas for the holidays, but let's get in the kitchen and let's get started. All right, so like always, we are going to start out with breakfast, and I am going to be making some sausage and gravy. So good. I don't eat it very often, but boy, when I do, I am in fifth heaven because sausage and gravy is one of my favorites. So that is 1 pound of sausage that I already cooked up. Use whatever sausage you decide to use. It really does not matter. That is around 2 ounces of cream cheese. And then we're also going to go in with around 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. So if you follow me, you know I don't really measure. I just kind of guesstimate. So we're going in with the seasonings. I'm going to add some salt. Remember, sausage is a little salty, so it doesn't take much. Pepper and some garlic powder. And then I'm just going to stir that up until it gets nice and warm and the cream cheese is melted into the sausage. And then I'm going to go in with some xanthan gum because we do need to thicken it up just a little bit. And I use between 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum. 1/4 will probably do it. Like I said, I don't measure though. And that did the trick. It thickened it up nicely. I do want to let you guys know, I personally drain the grease off the sausage. I know we're doing keto. We like fat. However, that's a little too much fat for me, so I do drain that off. And as you can see, it thickened up nicely, and that's a great consistency. I like that consistency for gravy. I mean, if you want to keep yours thinner, that is totally fine as well. It is all personal preference. It really does not matter. Then next up, of course, if we're having biscuits and gravy, we got to make the biscuits. So I'm using this Carb Quick. I actually picked this up at Walmart and I just tried it recently. The other day, actually, we made pancakes. This is actually really, really good. Not the cleanest. This is probably considered this is considered dirty keto, but super simple. 2 cups of the Carb Quick and 2/3 cup of water. I'm telling you, you guys, this tasted just like the real deal as far as biscuits. If you guys don't like dirty keto, I will leave a link to my favorite keto recipe that for biscuits that's clean keto. But you're just going to want to mix that up. And I made 6 biscuits out of this, preheated my oven to 350. These took about 15 minutes to cook. And like I said, I honestly can't tell the difference between these and the real deal, to be honest with you. These are so good. But like I said, do keep in mind, a little disclaimer, that not clean keto. Look at the bottom of those. Isn't that beautiful? So that was breakfast. So good. Next up, I am going to be cooking up 2.5 pounds of ground beef, and I am going to make a kind of like a keto hamburger helper. So that is, in both of those packages, that is some cauliflower rice. We're going to add some salt, some garlic powder, some onion powder, a little bit of paprika, sugar-free ketchup, mustard, Worcestershire sauce, heavy whipping cream, and I don't have it out, but I did add cheese. So those bags of cauliflower rice, I actually cooked in the microwave first to get them nice and hot. And then, in my opinion, the microwave does not make those soft enough. So it's great that it's cooking in the pan as well, because when you cook them in the pan with all the rest of the ingredients, the cauliflower does soften up better. That was around probably 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream, garlic powder. We're using some salt. We are going to go in with some onion powder, paprika, and some pepper. I will leave the link to this recipe down in the description box below. However, I doubled the batch to this recipe. So, and plus I don't measure, so I just kind of guesstimated. But we are going to go in with around 3 tablespoons of sugar-free ketchup, 3 teaspoons of mustard, I did put a splash of Worcestershire sauce in there. And then I did end up going in with just a little bit more ketchup and mustard. And then I always taste my food to make sure I put enough seasonings in there, and I did not. So I did go back in and add some more seasonings. And that is probably around a cup to a cup and a half of cheese. You use whatever kind of cheese you want and use as much or as little as you want. Because like I said, when it comes to cooking, it's basically however you want to do it. You can change up any recipe and make it your own. But that is how it turned out. And honestly, I know somebody's going to ask me how I eat this. I literally throw it in a bowl and eat it just like that. It's that good. Next up, we're making slow cooker cinnamon sugar glazed carrots. This would be a perfect holiday side dish. So in that small little crock pot of mine, I have 1 pound of baby carrots, and then I am putting 1 tablespoon of Kerrygold butter over them. Keep in mind the original recipe, I cut that in half because I don't have a lot of carrot lovers in my family. So it's probably just going to be my husband and I eating this. But I just kind of stirred that up, and then I'm just going to put the lid on this crock pot and let these little baby carrots cook for about 4 hours on high. Or, I mean, you could do it on low for maybe like 6 hours, but once I let them cook for 4 hours on high, that is what they look like. And then I just went in with 1/4 cup of that swerve brown sugar. And then I also took around 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, around 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, and then I did add a little bit of salt, and then I just mixed that around. And after you mix it around and everything is mixed together, you can literally serve it then. I left it in the crock pot probably another 30 minutes after that, and before I put it away, but that's what it looked like. Y'all, this is so good. And don't think you can have carrots on keto. That is such a myth. You can have carrots, just don't go overboard. Next up, I made some loaded broccoli, minus the bacon, because I didn't have any bacon at the moment thawed out, which I really wish I did. But that was around a tablespoon of Kerrygold butter, and then I just used a bag of broccoli that I already microwaved in the microwave. And then that was probably around 1/2 to 3/4 cup of sour cream, probably a tablespoon of heavy whipping cream. I did add some salt as well as some garlic powder. And then, of course, I'm going to go in with pepper. Y'all, I love pepper. And then I'm just going to stir that up, let that kind of cook together, let all those flavors cook together. Then we're going to go in with some mozzarella and some cheddar jack cheese. Y'all know how much I love cheese. Cheese makes everything better. So that was probably not quite a cup of each one of those. Stirring that together, and oh boy, let that cook. Let all those flavors just simmer together, and you have yourself one awesome side dish. This could actually be for the holidays as well, if you're a broccoli lover like I am. Look how good that is. Some of the broccoli even browned. Ooh, in my opinion, that makes it even better. So next up, we have another dish that is going to be a family favorite of yours. However, there's one thing that I would change, and I'll tell you here in just a second, but those are all the ingredients that I'm going to be using. We are making ourselves some ground beef, green chili enchiladas. Woo, doggy. So that is 2.5 pounds of ground beef, 1 whole white onion, a tablespoon of garlic, and we are just going to let that cook together. And we're just going to let all those flavors just dance around together in that skillet. That is my handy dandy little meat chopper that I got at the Dollar General. Now I think they sell it at the Dollar Tree. Somebody gave me a heads up on that. This is what I would change. So I bought the big, humongous egg wraps, the egg thins. They're clean ingredients. They're great. However, I don't like eggy things. And because those wraps are so big, they tasted eggy to me. I can't deal with eggy. I've used the small wraps before and they did not do that. So I either need to go back to the small ones, or I just need to use low carb tortillas. But that is an entire package of cream cheese. I'm adding 2 cans of diced green chilies. And then I am just going to try to stir that together. That way the cream cheese starts melting into the meat mixture. Then we're going to start going in with all of those seasonings. So we're going to be adding some chili powder, some cayenne pepper. Be careful with the cayenne pepper because that could get real spicy real quick. Onion powder, garlic powder, and like I've always said, never ever be afraid of seasonings. Seasonings can seriously make your entire dish. I'm also going to go in with some pepper. I did end up going in with a little bit of salt, and that is it for the seasonings. Super simple. And then, like I said, I just took those egg wraps. Again, if you don't mind that eggy taste, then you would probably be okay with that. But I personally, I won't use those large egg wraps again. Again, just too much egg, but just fill it in, wrap it up, and then we are going to go in with that red enchilada sauce. And you don't have to use red enchilada sauce. You can use the green. And I know some of you are probably like, well, it's green chilies. Why didn't you use the green? Well, I don't know. I just wanted the red enchilada sauce. And then, of course, top it with whatever cheese you want. I baked this at 400 degrees. You'll see in a minute that I made a boo-boo because I accidentally left them in the oven too long. So the cheese on the top kind of got a little bit darker than what I actually like. But you know what? Either way, minus the eggy wraps, this was so good. So definitely highly recommend this. Actually, to be honest with you, some of them I just ate the middle out of it and I ate the cheese on top because I actually like cheese like that, and I left the wrap. Terrible, I know. Next up, last but not least, we are making a traditional pumpkin pie. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to make the pie crust. So we're going to add in there 2 cups of almond flour, 2 tablespoons of coconut flour, 2 tablespoons of granulated sweetener. I'm using monk fruit that I get at Costco. 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum. I do go in with some salt. Remember, this recipe will be in the description box below. Don't think you need to remember all this. And then I like to go in with a whisk and whisk all of the dry ingredients together. You can sift it if you want to. I personally don't sift anything. I think a whisk does just fine. So then you're going to take 4 tablespoons of melted butter and 1 large egg, and then you're going to mix that up. I just whisked it again, and then I go in with my hands and I really get in there and make sure all of that is incorporated well, and then I form it into a ball, and we're going to put that in the fridge for a half an hour. While that is in the fridge, we are going to make the pie filling. That is everything that you're going to need. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take a 15-ounce can of pumpkin puree and put that in the bowl. Then you're also going to take 2 large eggs, as well as 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, 2/3 cup of granular erythritol, or I use monk fruit, 1.5 teaspoons of pumpkin pie, a little bit of salt, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I promise you guys, this pumpkin pie recipe did not even taste sugar-free. This was the best. So then you're just going to stir all of that up. And once I got all of that stirred, it was pretty much about the time to take that crust out. So once I took the crust out, it says to roll it with a rolling pin. I don't do that because my crust never turns out. I don't know. I'm not like a rolling pin expert, but I just flatten it out with my fingers and I roll with that. I make it work. So once I get that in there, I just took a fork and I forked the bottom of the pie crust. And you're going to want to bake the pie crust at 400 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes. I did mine for, I think, closer to 15 minutes. Next time I think I'll probably do it closer to 10 because the crust towards the end of the baking time did start to get a little bit dark. So I poured, after it was done and it came out of the oven, I poured obviously the filling in there. And once you pour the filling in there, you're going to put it back in to the oven, but you're going to lower the temperature to 350 degrees and you're going to bake it for 45 to 55 minutes. That's where I screwed up. I forgot to lower the temperature, so I baked it for 45 to 55 minutes in an oven at 400 degrees. But honestly, it still turned out. It was so good. This is the best sugar-free pumpkin pie I have ever tasted. So even though I screwed up, it still turned out amazing. But I would definitely turn that oven back to 350 degrees. So hopefully yours doesn't get quite so browned on the top like mine did. Even though my husband's like, I thought it was delicious. I love the crust like that. So worked out in my favor either way. All right, y'all, so that's going to conclude this week's meal prep. I hope it gave you the inspiration that you were looking for to get in the kitchen and meal prep for yourself and your family. Even if you only meal prep a couple of things, it is still going to make a difference during the week, I promise. So I hope you guys are getting some ideas for the holidays coming up, because every single meal prep I'm trying to incorporate ideas for the holidays. And I'm trying to incorporate several different ways to do things, you know, such as carrots and different vegetables, because not everybody likes the same vegetables. Not everybody likes the same types of dishes. So I'm trying to incorporate several different things, as well as several different desserts. And here soon, I'm going to be doing a ham with a sugar-free glaze over it. That is absolutely amazing. You're not going to want to miss that. But for tonight, like I said, I hope this gave you the inspiration that you needed to get in the kitchen and get your cooking on. Like always, I'm praying for you, your family, and your country. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you guys, and don't forget to go out there and make today even better than yesterday, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.
On my own, but I don't know why you hit the road, but you don't realize I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when